Okay, everybody. Now this one's gonna be a little bit longer, but I'm gonna break down and prove everything I've been saying this whole time, and y'all call me crazy, rebellious, blah blah blah. I don't give a fuck. Actually, we're gonna split it in two because I'm gonna be fair. Pellis and Neoplatonist has written that the function of imaginary magic was to initiate or perfect the human soul by the powers of materials here on earth. For the supreme faculty of the soul cannot, by its own guidance, aspire to the sublimest intuition and to the comprehension of divinity. It is a complete aphorism in occultism that nature unaided fails. That is to say, that the natural life, it left to itself and isolated from the impact of the higher type of life or consciousness, can only produce a commonplace thing of the natural life. Yeah, that's why they do those slander campaigns so that you are isolated. But I proved that's a bullshit lie, didn't I? Yeah, I did. It reminds us of the sentiment of the alchemist who expressed contempt of their first matter as it existed in its natural or impure state, in the condition where it normally is found. But this first matter, cleansed and purified by the psychochemical art of alchemy. The psychochemical art of alchemy. What does that refer to, huh? Oh, yeah. It refers to Codex Esoterica, psychedelic self discovery. Wow. Mm, mm. Okay. It reminds us that the sediment of alchemists was first matter as exists in a natural state or impure state, in a condition where the normally is found. But this first matter, cleansed and purified by psychochemical art of alchemy, that is to say, by initiation, your test of illumination, right, bitches? Go fuck yourselves. Is that which is transferred into the most precious thing in the whole world. But until cleansed and purified, it is of little or no value. You're understanding the point of Alcoholics Anonymous and Narcotics Anonymous, right? Because we're going to get there. Be patient. Nature, however, aided where she had left off by wise and devout men, may surpass herself. And that is why Pellis claims that the soul of itself and by itself is not able to attain to divinity unless and until it is guided by initiates and thus enfolded into another life. Haven't I been proving that bullshit? Bullshit this whole fucking time though? Wow. See, never believe what the fuck you read because a man read the book and the Bible says what? It is better to trust the Lord than to put confidence in man, but we'll keep going. It is to effect this integration, to bring about this initiation, this exaltation. Exaltation. Exalted, cast away, isolated, your test of illumination, you dumb fucks, to the conscious above the natural state of the light divine. That the magical system of the Golden Dawn or any other legitimate initiating system owes its existence, the function of every phase of its work, and avowed intention of its principal rituals, because principles before personalities, right? And the explicit statement of its teachings is to assist the candidate by his own aspirations to find the unity of being which is in the inner self and pure essence of mind, the Buddha nature. Wait, that's why all your Alcoholics Anonymous coins say unity, and their little bitch ass Illuminati contract right here says to dedicate my existence to bring all people in all places into unification. Doesn't it, you dumb bitch? It's proven it is really a RICO crime syndicate like I've been exposing. I don't give a fuck. Where was I at here? okay. Not only does the system imply by this its ritualistic moments of axiomata, but there are clear and unmistakable passages where these ideas are given unequivocal expression. Thus, we find it written in the entire object of initiation and mystical teaching is by the intervention of the symbol. You mean the Alcoholics Anonymous symbol, or are you talking about the uh, the Narcotics Anonymous symbol, or are you talking about the Freemason symbol, which later on I will show you it in Geomatrix. Yeah. Okay. Thus, we find it written that the entire object of initiation and mystical teaching is by the intervention of the symbol, ceremonial, and sacrament. So the lead, so to lead the soul that it may be withdrawn from the attraction of matter and delivered from the aspiration therein. Huh. You understand the fault right there? Wait, our public relations policy is based on attraction rather than promotion. Literally goes against this book, doesn't it? But this is where it comes from. Whereby it walks in somnambulism, somnambulism, not own, knowing not whence it cometh, nor whereth it goeth, and moreover, in the same rituals celebrated by the autumnal and vernal equinoxes, the chief adept officiating recites an invocation beseeching guidance for the newly installed Hierophant. It is asked that he may well and worthy direct those who have been called from the tribulation of the darkness into the light of this little kingdom of thy love, and vouchsafe, vouchsafe also that going forward in love for thee through him and with him. Are they talking about P. Diddy freakoffs right here in Epstein Island shit? Crazy, isn't it? That's why page 69 in Alcoholics Anonymous says, only God can judge our sexual preferences, doesn't it? Mm. They may pass from the desire of thy house into the light of thy presence. This is succeeded by sentences read by the second and third adepti. The desire of thy house has eaten me up, and I desire to be dissolved and to be with thee. Yeah, we're going to keep going. And finally, that not the least vestige of misunderstanding or misconception may remain, so that the objects of the divine theurgy may be. Let me reproduce one last quotation from this same ritual, referring to the supernals and the temple that in old time was built on high. The speech adds, the holy place was made waste, and the sons of the house of wisdom were taken away into the captivity of the senses. Dumbing you down, that's the whole thing. We have worshipped since then in a house made with hands, receiving a sacramental ministration by the deceived light in place of the cohabiting glory. And yet, amidst signs and symbols, the tokens of the higher presence have never been wanting in our hearts. Now, wait, the tokens. You're getting John Wick now, right? Your Alcoholics Anonymous coin. You even have Narcotics Anonymous coins. Your Freemason coins. Are you starting to understand everything I've been breaking down yet? By the waters of Babylon, we have sat down and wept, but we have ever remembered Zion, and that memorial is a witness testifying that we shall yet return with the exalted into the house of our Father. Thus, the unmistakably is the true object of the great work set before us, and we shall do well ever to keep eye and aspiration firmly fixed thereto. For while the road to the spiritual Zion demands great exertion, and because it is a way that at times proceeds by devious routes, there is great temptation to linger by the roadside, to stroll down pleasant side lanes, or to play absent absent-mindedly with toys or staves cut, but to assist our forward march. But if we forget not that the whole city, the winding path leads us, little danger can overtake any who pursue it steadfast to the end. It is only when the abiding city is forgotten that the road becomes hard and the way best by unseen danger and difficulty. Prior to attempting to describe a few of the salient points of the rituals briefly, for since they appear within the volumes, there must be individually studied and experienced so that an individual point of view may be acquired. It may be advisable to devote a few explanatory words to the art of ceremonial initiation itself. Again, that is, where's that? Illuminati, the first testament, Illuminati, right? Um, how you are watched, and then you get into Codex Illuminati, the New Testament Illuminati, the Illuminati in science. Excuse me. A useful and significant preface may be taken from Dr. Young's commentary to Wilhelm's transition, excuse me, of The Secret of the Golden Flower, where there is much that explains the ritualistic functions of magic. Magical practice are, he declares, the projections of psychic events which, in cases like these, exert a counter influence on the soul. Yeah, that's why the tradition says what? Oh, yeah. Dude, our public relations policy is based on attraction that rather than promotion. We must always maintain personal anonymity at the level of press, radio, and films. I just broke that down. And act like the kind of enchantment of one's own personality. That is to say, by means of these concrete performances, the attention, or better said, the interest, is brought back to an inner sacred domain which is the source and goal of the soul. This inner domain contains the unity, there it is again, of life and consciousness, which through one possessed has been lost and must now be found again. Wow. You're really understanding everything going on in Hollywood, right? Like how they're fucking stupid retards that are pushing gay and transgender shit, like woke shit. Come on. From one point of view, the officers employed in these rituals represent just such psychic projections. They represent even as figures in Dreams 2, DreamWorks, the production company, right? Yeah. And what? Dream Director, the Disney cartoon? Yeah. Differently aspects of man himself. Personifications of abstract psychological principles inheriting within the human spirit, though they admittedly artificial or conventional means of a dramatic projection of these personified principles is a well ordered ceremony. A reaction is induced in consciousness. Artificial intelligence. That's why the Bible says AI in the book of Joshua. Are you getting it yet? This reaction is calculated to arouse from their dominant condition those hitherto latent faculties represented objectively by the temple of initiation by the officers, without the least conscious effort on the part of the aspirant. An involuntary current of sympathy is produced by the external delineation of your spiritual parts. which may be sufficient to accomplish the purpose of the initiation ceremony. These aesthetic appeals to the imagination, quite apart from what could be called the intrinsic magical virtue, which which the GD documents Z1 and Z3 deal at some length, stirs to renewed actively the life of the inner domain. And the entire action of this type of dramatic ritual is that the soul may discover itself exalted to the heights, and during that mystical evaluation, receive the rushing forth of the light. And we're going to pause right there. We'll be back with the next video. Just be patient.